watching it disappear.
Okay, the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
D&D.
Finally.
We have been having a heck of a time getting the whole party here, and look, we did it. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Mark Kilfoyle as Vertigo, aka Nedry, aka question mark? Or is that just resolved now?
Resolved. Nothing's ever resolved.
Well, just let me know if you ever want me to update your name tag on the little stream.
All names are fine.
Paul Fisher as Zinhorn Windborn.
Good evening.
Starla Hutchton as Carolina Swift.
Oh.
And I'm muted. Hello, friends.
And Jenny Meltzer as Zaylene.
Hello.
So, when last we left our heroes, the Pocket Protectors, they had learned that in order to perhaps solve the problem of this incredibly unknowably powerful but uncontrollable artifact known as the Pillar, they were told that they needed to assemble a machine that would let them look at it a different way, which is what they've been told is how to solve the problem. And so they've been starting to try to collect the various parts of this machine. You currently had two already. You had the loop and the gear, but you were told by Empress Solomonia, the high priestess of lawful good from Mount Celestia, that she had another one of these parts and she would just give it to you if you came to get it. So you traveled to Mount Celestia and discovered that it was a little bit more complicated than that. In order to demonstrate to the plane, all of the planes, that you were her champions and you were worthy of this mission, she had set up an exhibition match against a party of fiendish fellows, and they had brought another one of the pieces, and so you had to fight them in order to claim both of these machine parts. And as just an extra little bit of chili pepper in this this mix, there's also a demon lord on the battlefield. And so you had a big fight, and you won. Good job. And so that's where we left things, was you had just defeated the enemy party. It was clear that you were not expected to also finish off the Demon Lord. You were given a portal out, and we will resume our adventure now as you have, stepped back through this portal, and you find that as beat up and exhausted and spent as you were at the end of that fight, you find yourself now standing in front of. You emerge from this portal on a big stage where you are face to face with Solomonia herself. And like for a moment, it's like she's just shining with a light so bright that it kind of almost hurts to look at. But then with a smile, she eases it, and you can see her, although it's still pretty bright in here. But your eyes adjust, and she says, "Allow me to soothe your wounds." And she waves her hand over you, and all of you find that you are immediately restored as though you had a long rest, plus level up. You are now level 18. And you are also now all dressed in very fancy clothing, befitting a Mount Celestia party. And there are the barest concessions to your normal choice of style, but mostly you're in white and gold fancy clothes. And then the whole assembled audience is cheering, and she says, "Behold my champions!"
All right. Yeah.
Like, there's
Hey.
no way I'm going to be able to keep this clean.
That's what magic is for.
I think Buster has a really fancy, like he's been given like gray render armor that looks a little bit like a cummerbund, and he keeps like he's rolling around like trying to get it off.
I convince him not to.
He says. So I think as the applause dies down, the more astute among you do notice that like you're getting a lot of applause, but you know there's you're getting a little bit of a vibe that there's pockets here and there within the audience who kind of wish that the other team had won, right? You know, this is not only Mount Celestia folks here. The whole point of this was that she has wanted representatives from all across the plains. Her point being she wants them to not try their own competitive attempts to do this that would interfere with you. And so this was to demonstrate to them that you are the worthy party that can get this job done. But, you know, there's some that are not happy about it. So she, you know, once the cheering, it continues, of course, until she's ready. Everyone is still, you know, clapping. Yeah, all right, all right. And then finally she just raises her hand and gestures. And the prize, as promised, the rotor and the chronometer. And she gestures to a table where some little, you know, cherubim lift a bright white silk off of these two machine components. And she says, "These, along with the rest of your belongings, will be prepared for you upon your return. But for now, rest and enjoy the laurels of your great victory."
Ah, a hearty laurel. That's what I like.
Yeah. Please accept these laurels and a hearty handshake.
Handshake.
Yes. So in any case, it becomes clear that there is now a big feast, and you are you discover pretty quickly that the setup here is there is food, but it's not like a traditional feast. It's all like little bits of finger food and drinks, but it's like a receiving line. Like when you know at a wedding when the bride and groom have to kind of stand there while everybody who attended stands in line to wait, and so they can all congratulate you, and that it's that kind of deal. And so I would imagine that there's a little bit of maybe you're hungry and you want to eat, but you also have people every 15 seconds or so there's a new person's coming up to talk to you.
I'm pretty sure
Um,
that's what Mage Hand is for.
I will lean into Lynn and be like, if we ever decide to get married, let's elope.
I, okay. No response to that. Just kind of deer in the headlights. What?
What? We're getting married? What?
Wait a sec. I don't get to
Sign up for
perform
that.
the ceremony?
I could just do it myself. Like, we're married.
It just occurred to me. I don't think I've ever actually thought is like I'm sure that has happened in the history of the world, but I think anyway that's unrelated. So as you are, you know, you're dealing with an awful lot of people coming through here and giving you just sort of the very like polite, respectful, like but sincere congratulations, but then they just leave it at that, right? Like they're not necessarily asking anything of you. They're just taking their turn to pay their respects. But every so often you get some VIPs come through, not expected to stand in line. They just kind of walk up whenever they're ready and everyone else waits. One of those is a familiar figure. It is the Lord of the Hunt, who has approached, and he just says, "My brilliant congratulations on your victory, Pocket Protectors. Another story worthy of the Archfey, and indeed You are making many powerful friends.
Thank you, my lord.
I wish to congratulate you in particular, too, on your choice of tactics. I hope that you will not listen to those who would criticize your use of that brilliant wall. Tactically, I think there are those whose tastes run to the blunt and the brutal, who would insist that you must meet your foe face to face and that anything less than that is cowardice. But those who can approach a combat trial with intelligence and tactics understand the value of such magic.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
would hope it would serve as testament to playing to one's strengths. Not everyone is as adept with the aggressive approach. Um, so I appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I certainly understand that. And I think that if you would ever want to discuss combat tactics of this nature in a more private venue, all you have to do is say the word.
Kind of glance at Zaline out of the corner of my eyes, like I would certainly consider that. Thank you. It's a generous offer.
Yeah, he's walking away, but he kind of does the.
Summon me.
For those just listening to audio, he did the call me phone gesture. Anyway, yes. So you also at one point there is a very powerful celestial, clearly a warrior. She's like 8 feet tall. She's got blue skin, completely bald head, very powerful, wings, and she just strides forward, and she's just saying, "You guys were so great. All of us Solar were watching, and we knew you were going to kick those fiendish bad guys, send them back to the hells. You did it. Good job. I liked the part where you killed them."
I told them they would need to stay out of my way or I would scrape them off my boot.
Yeah, that was the best. So good. I just, like we don't get a chance to do it as often as we would like, but boy, killing evil people is just the best. Like, what was your favorite part?
I think when Carolina cast the prismatic wall, that changed the entire battlefield. Um, I mean, they were the rough and tumble, slug it out sort, not the kind of deep thinkers like she is.
Oh, like it was really pretty for sure. But
Hmm.
I like the parts where you like burnt him up and like stabbed him and made him like bleed and that stuff.
There were a lot of those, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Hmm. And
I
she's
think.
kind of just like wobbling on her feet a little bit. She's clearly been having some of the wine.
Yeah,
Unclear what she's been drinking. Mead, maybe.
I feel like we are kind of trying not to be stepped on, like she was talking about stepping on the bad guys at
Mm-hmm.
this point. Just trying not to get crushed.
Yeah, I think actually at a point another one of the celestial servants does just kind of come and just kind of escorts her away. It's like there are other people waiting, and she's like, if you ever want to fight devils with me, just let me know. And she's getting led away.
I mean, did anybody catch her name? Maybe she would be useful to summon in times of need. There, I fear there's going to be a lot of fighting yet to come.
You don't even see how it gets there, but when you happen to look down, there's now a little business card in front of you that just says Espera Solar.
I think this idea is catching on, Lynn.
These business cards, yeah, it's brilliant.
You get a contraption that at first you wonder if this is a construct of some kind, but then you realize that it is clearly biomechanical. It has many metallic components, but it also has, like flesh eyes and lips and stuff like that. And you realize that this is one of the more advanced kinds of modrons, which would hail from the plane of pure order. And it just, it comes up and gives you a very sort of stiff bow, and it says, "My congratulations to you. It was a most admirable and balanced challenge which you faced with order. Well done." And it does the stiff bow again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If you think that as a result of this victory, that you will, in the process of dealing with the pillar, that you will have the opportunity to realign the multiverse, may I request that you do so with a favorable view of order as opposed to chaos?
Hmm,
Oh,
most
We
of
will
us are
take all
pretty
sides into
orderly.
account.
balance is what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Order, though, is clearly better.
I'm not sure if I've come to that conclusion yet.
I
As
start doing
much
some really weird, chaotic stuff, just like dancing randomly as chaos.
I just imagine the
It
Charlie Brown dance for some reason.
one of its eyes is twitching a little bit, but it just says, "If you are unclear about the merits of order, I could be prepared to elucidate you at any time. Perhaps now." And it's starting reaching for like a chair to just pull up to your table.
I'm gonna start walking in the direction of the Lord of the Hunt.
The first thing that I love about order is that everything can be placed in the correct sequence for maximum clarity.
I I think we're going to grab a chair and sit down and probably debate every single point that he brings up.
Okay. So I am
I
interested.
surreptitiously move to the other side of the girls so Nedry
Mm-hmm.
can have his conversation.
Okay. So yeah, Nidri, tell me, like, I think you can probably imagine the sorts of arguments that the Modron is making. Tell
No, I
me.
insist we role play through every single line on this list.
Well, okay, hey,
Everybody
I
relax. It's going to be a while.
so I want, but what is the sort of the general vibe? Are you actually debating, or are you just kind of posing questions back?
I think it's as much him exploring that thought of balance, where this is extreme order and kind of pointing out that extreme order is often chaos. And I kind of not intentionally trying to antagonize,
Mm-hmm.
but genuinely trying to argue for the middle.
Okay. I think he is pretty emphatic that order is not actually chaos. Is that if it is chaos, then it is by definition not order.
It's mostly a matter of perspective. A set of items may be ordered in a particular way, and it may be a perfect order, but only if viewed from a single perspective. When viewed from multiple perspectives, it is complete chaos.
The ignorance of a viewer who cannot see the pattern does not create chaos in the sequence.
No, it's inherent in the sequence itself, regardless of the viewer.
You cannot make things be chaos just by declaring them to be.
I don't have to. It's inherent in the very structure of the universe, unfortunately. I would agree that if everything was perfectly ordered, it would be more useful, perhaps. But in my experience, it is the balance between chaos and order which often produces the best result. Admittedly, I'm still trying chaos. Order was the manner of operation for a long time for me.
If I may, I have prepared a 543 step plan towards making the universe a more orderly place.
Good for you. Perhaps someday we'll have a chance to talk about it. But I think
I
this
don't
is
have
not quite.
anywhere to be.
That's very sad. All of us should have a place to be. All of us should have many places to be, actually.
To be clear, I can return to Mechanus at any time. However, it is simply that I find this conversation right now to be my highest priority.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. Most don't really relish a conversation with me. A lot of times I see these distant looks where they sort of are not quite sure if they want to continue or if they'd rather be somewhere else. Or if they're not entirely certain if.
And it goes on from there.
Make an intelligence check here. I think this is just intelligence, not like one of the other skills, because this is a more sort of strict logical debate than almost any other scenario you might be able to come up with.
Sure. There's an 18.
18 is pretty good. I think that you discover in the process of holding your own in this debate, like he never gives you anything that you're stumped by. It becomes pretty clear to you that perhaps it's just his nature. You don't want to necessarily like limit the potential of what this individual is capable of learning or feeling or thinking, but you get the vibe he's a true believer. You're not going to convince him. He is 100% sure that 100% order is best, and there is nothing that's going to change his mind.
At some point, then, after realizing that, I think they would kind of look for, as opposed to an intellectual way out, an emotional way out of thanking them.
You are truly an exemplar of your being, and I have been enriched by talking to you. I thank you. You've given me a lot to think about. I am a mere mortal, and sometimes these things take longer to process. If I could have a way to contact you in the future, I would love to continue this once I've had a chance to get closer to where you are.
He hands you a business card that just has zeros and ones on it. And then he does his stiff bow again, and he says, I hope that your mortal span is long enough for you to see the wisdom of pure order. And then he turns and walks away.
That's the kindest thing anyone's ever said to me.
So did you sought out the Lord of the Hunt, Zayleen?
Yeah, chaotically. Like he's like
Oh,
the
sure,
most
yeah.
chaotic person here.
Yeah, I mean, so he's got his own little crew that he's hanging out with, but you are certainly welcomed. And he just says hello.
Hello?
Yes. I hope that you did not interpret my focus on your colleague during our discussion to suggest that I did not witness and appreciate all that you did during the fight as well.
I don't really remember doing all that much. I mean, that wall just really dominated the entire battle, which was a good thing.
I
It
mean,
was a
it
good
was a
thing.
good wall. I'm not. I said so, and I meant it.
It was an epic wall. It really was. I mean, between that and the insect plague and the blade wall, I mean, there was so much going on.
Make use of
They
all
didn't
the tools you
skate.
have at your disposal. It's excellent.
Precisely,
Mm-hmm.
precisely. And I was thinking about our conversation before we went to that area and faced the hag. You know how we talked about her and the things that she was doing and how ruthlessly she had trapped that Titan. And every day I think about you when I remember how we set that Titan free and let it, be at peace.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to thank you for giving me that perspective before we went.
Well, of course. I find that I am fascinated by few mortals, but there are those few that catch my interest.
Indeed.
Uh,
So thank you for your inspiration. And
would you like some meat?
yes, meat.
All right. Um, so I think Zinhorn, while you are kind of like moving over there, getting out of the order conversation and moving over, you are approached by an individual with sort of an like green skin and an elongated head, dressed in some like weird sort of fancy wizard like robes with like a high collar, but his face is just the glowing yellow eyes. Like there's no nose, there's no mouth. It's just like, and so it approaches and you hear the voice in your head here just say, "Pardon me. If you have a moment, I have a proposal I would like to make to you and your companions."
You may continue.
I can tell you only the most uh, peripheral components right now. I think we would require a more private place to discuss the details.
You're speaking into my head. How much more private can that be?
He looks around. He says, "There's actually quite a few here in this august assembly that can speak mind to mind in this way.
Hmm.
And as you might imagine, in such a place as this and such a party as yourselves, there are high stakes."
Quite true. Do you have a business card?
I've been thinking of having some printed,
Hmm.
but it is my experience that this is sufficient. And he kind of presses a finger to his temple, and in your mind's eye, you see an image of a business card. And it says Arcaris Yugoloth mercenaries.
Arcaris Yugoloth?
Yeah, Yugoloth mercenaries. So the like name is Arcaris, and then Yugoloth mercenaries is what's below that.
Alrighty. So his race is Yugoloft,
He he
maybe?
he is well. So make an Arcana check.
Good luck. Arcana. 14.
Okay. I think with you might have had trouble placing it without the hint, but the Yugoloth part is a word that you remember. Yugoloths are fiends, like devils and demons are, but they are not devils or demons. So in the same way that like devils are lawful evil and demons are chaotic evil. Did I say that right? I feel like I might have switched it. But the you certainly are aware that there is a whole spectrum of evil creatures, right? Some of
Mm-hmm.
them are fiends, but do not come from the hells or from the abyss. They are not devils nor demons. They are Yugoloths.
Okay.
And there are many different kinds of Yugoloth, but yeah. So that is what a Yugoloth is. It says, so obviously this party is not the most private of places, but I think that I have an offer, a job offer that would appeal to your current interests.
Alrighty. I will discuss that with the rest of my party after the party and get back to you.
Yes,
Thank you.
please do. I eagerly await your communication.
Alrighty.
So Carolina, where were you? Where did you sneak off to after the Modron had showed up?
Probably followed Zaleen.
Okay, yeah. All right. So are you kind of creeping up behind while he's talking to her, or are you
Yeah,
or are you
because
just
yeah,
waiting for like are you trying to join that conversation, or are you waiting for her to be done?
I'm just staying with her. Like
Okay.
that, just
Okay.
that's it.
Well, so I
On
yeah, so
heels.
I think that what he was saying to her before I think was primarily like, to her, but then
Mhm.
I think as you join too,
It
he
was a
says,
few
"Aha!
steps behind. Like yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the two most beautiful members of the Pocket Protectors. Thank you for joining us. I wonder if you might sit with us and enjoy a meal, some mead or wine."
And then look at Zaleen. Just like, what do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Sure,
All
we'd
right.
be delighted.
Okay. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and have you both make a wisdom saving throw. This is not like a specific spell that is acting upon you right now. This is just spending time in this guy's presence.
Oh
I'm
my
not good at those.
gosh.
12.
No?
Feel like that's not gonna do it.
28.
Okay. Yeah, so Zaleen, you are very cognizant of what's happening, which includes full awareness of this guy's an archfey. When he wants to turn on the charm, he can do that, right? And you are managing to sort of place yourself outside of that to the extent that you want to, right? Like you have full control over how you feel about that.
I think that because she already finds him attractive, that she would just be all like giddy about it. Like, oh, he's
Nice.
definitely
Yeah, so
flirting.
you're
Like,
leaning into
yeah,
it. Okay, great,
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Love that. So Carolina, I think this is not something that is taking any agency away from you. But boy, you are just finding that like it's your body thinks that this guy is super hot and he is just like kind of you have not lost control over your body or any of your actions or anything, but it's just one of those things where you can't help but like you like, are my cheeks flushed? I feel like they're flushed. Am I talking too fast? Whew. Oh boy, oh yeah, he's looking at me again. You're getting a little bit of that sort of physiological stuff going on. And it doesn't help that this mead that he's drinking is really strong. So you're just hanging out for a while?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just
Okay,
absolutely giggling.
great, great.
I
Uh,
think that we would be like leaning together, giggling a lot. Just
mm-hmm.
feel
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he seems into
Yep.
that. Yeah.
I
All right,
foresee
I'm
us.
here for it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
foresee us like sneaking out of his quarters in the middle of the morning, like
Mm-hmm.
before the sun comes up together.
Yeah.
Just like,
So I think that perhaps Zinhorn, you will spot that Zaleen and Carolina have sort of inserted themselves into that sort of that table. I think Vertigo is probably finished talking with the Modron. What are you two getting up to now? You just mingling some more? Are you gonna?
I'm mingling. I have set myself the goal of trying every piece of finger food that they have here
Nice.
and rating them all. Like I've got a little notebook out that I swiped from Vertigo
Mm-hmm.
and a quill, and I'm
I don't think any of you have like all your normal stuff, but I think that the instant like you're kind of looking around and you're sort of subconsciously making the little I'm writing on a clipboard like hand gesture, you suddenly see that there is a celestial standing right there holding off a clipboard and a little like feather quill.
awesome. Thank you very much.
Of course.
And I
And as you start inventorying the different varieties of finger food, I think you discover that the closer you look, the more you realize that it's like there's just so much variety here. Like even a plate that you thought was all just little pigs in blankets, you look at the plate more carefully and you realize, wait, no, this is like 50 different versions of a pig in a blanket on this plate. And just there is this endless variety, and they're all good.
Excellent. Um, you know, he's going to try many different things
Hmm.
until he gets full,
Yeah.
and
Um,
then he's going to look around and see if there are any other dragonborn out
yeah.
there.
There are, but first make a wisdom saving throw.
This better not be magical food.
Are you kidding me? Where do you think you are?
22.
I mean, it's 100%. It's magical food. I mean, it's what do you?
I'm going to
Um,
go back to my favorite noodle shop in
yeah.
Bashan and show them.
Well, I mean, see, I think that's kind of the thing here is that I think you've had a lot, but I think with that, did you 22? Is that what you said?
22, yeah.
Yeah, I think at a certain point you recognize that there is nothing wrong with this food. It's wonderful. But the more you have of it, you are potentially at serious risk in a real meaningful way of ruining all mundane food for yourself forever. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Yeah.
so good that like the more you have of it, the more normal food is going to not do it for you anymore.
Got it. All right. In that case, he's going to stop.
Yeah. And I think as you reach for one more and then refrain, um, the celestial that was holding that platter sees you do that, nods to you, and says, "Well done, sir."
Thank you. I'm going to go off in search of some female dragonborn
Oh,
companionship.
okay, yeah, I think you can find some.
All
Um,
right.
what is Vertigo doing? Your companions have all gone off to in search of romance, apparently.
I
Or well,
mean,
romance, or the other thing.
it's been stressful, so they're allowed to go find what makes them
Mm-hmm.
happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go do the same and see if I can see those two other pieces we were given.
Oh, sure, yeah, you absolutely can. Um, so I think that they are sort of still on their like display pedestal, and I think that the there's two guards that are like clearly like guarding it. These are important things, and they tell you it's like, uh, as mentioned, they are for display at this time. When you are ready to depart, they will be prepared for you in a bundle that will obscure their magic for the purpose of making them safe to travel with. But you may examine them here as much as you like.
It's very thoughtful, thank you.
So you have, as previously mentioned, the one of them looks like uh, an overgrown pocket watch, but somehow one that has that like as the closer you look at the face of it, at first you think like this thing has got like 15, 16 different hands that are all pointing at different things, and the initial chaotic appearance of the dials around it reveals itself to actually just be many, many patterns overlaid amongst each other, and they're all turning in different directions at different rates. And all of this is got a panel on the back where you can see that there are various little like pins and axles that stick out the back that are also sort of turning in different ways that look like they would interface with something else. It's clearly very magical. And then the other one seems to be like it's like a gearbox. It's sort of an assembly, and it's got a variety of different gears. You can see different sizes that kind of stick out. But as you kind of look at it, it's another one of those things where, like, as you sort of try to peer into the box part of it, it's almost like a fractal in there. It's like it's an infinity of gears inside. And so that's what you can tell, like, just looking at it. If you would like to do more, let me know.
They don't really want him to get too close, I'm
No,
assuming.
I mean, you have won the right to them. They are effectively yours. They're just essentially asking that you keep them in this location until you're ready to depart.
I think out of habit, he'll start to describe his observations and ask the ones that are there questions. They probably aren't capable of answering. He might not even ask full questions, as half of it is in his head. But
Yeah, I think at a certain point, one of the guards is just like, I'm sorry, are you talking to me, or I don't want to ignore you if you're trying to ask me a question, but it was not clear.
Potentially. It was only most of a question. The rest will come in time.
But addressed to me or no?
If you'd care to answer, I would be willing to listen.
I will do my best, sir. However, I am not an expert in arcane artifacts.
No, few very much are. Although I do know of one.
and he reaches within to see if Canker is anywhere to be found.
I mean,
The
yeah,
adversary.
he's in your ring.
Okay, and I still have the ring. I don't know how I've been clothed.
Yeah, I think you have the
Feel-
ring. The ring is still on you.
He feels naked without his two spell books. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he would describe them. Did Canker know anything about these? I think-
So if you recall, he had read about them. He had not
Right,
seen them
right.
before. He had read about a couple of them. He had seen some descriptions of machines, but he doesn't have like direct, knowledge of these specific ones.
okay.
But he does just say, they are fascinating, aren't they? Each of them powerful in their own right, but what might they do together? It was described that the full assembly is somehow beyond the capacity for any mortal mind to comprehend. But even just what if you put two of them together, or three?
May have the opportunity to test that theory on a number of occasions.
And his chat with Cankers has the tone of speaking to a colleague.
Okay.
I fear there will be some resistance to assembling them. My own experience with powerful magic items does leave me somewhat suspicious of mishap.
Well, there are mishaps, and there are mishaps. My current experience is just another example of how sometimes, even when it seems like the worst has come to pass, you discover there is actually further opportunity yet available to you.
It's true. Your continued existence is a loophole.
Perhaps.
And certainly more agreeable to me than being banished to the abyss, or being made the plaything of some archdevil.
It would have been a waste.
I'm glad you feel that way. I'm just suddenly thinking, it's like everyone else is going looking for a hookup, and Vertigo is gonna is gonna spend time with his ring.
He's gonna
I
stay.
did,
He's staying true to Ivy, though.
Ivy. But yeah, so in any case though, like are you wanting to do any more direct like analysis of these things now? Like, um or are you like just leaving it as looking right now?
Uh, yeah, I think he would try. Because if he has his spell resources, then he would have identify, for example,
Mhm.
to go for a deeper perspective on what these are.
Sure. Yeah, and you would have the ability to do that. Let me just make sure I have what I called them in the magic items that I made for them.
It would be as a ritual because he doesn't have it
Yeah,
currently
sure.
memorized. But
Um, okay, where is what? Oh, I see. It helps if I search chronometer in the item name and not the author name.
it was made by time itself.
Yes. So yes, the first, which one do you do first? There's the chronometer and the rotor are the two.
Probably the chronometer. The
Okay.
rotor is more mechanical, which is beyond his purview. So
Sure, sure. You discover that in a similar fashion to the other parts that you've already, had some exposure with, it does have some powerful magical abilities of its own, but you do sense the potential that, like, those are almost kind of incidental to its real purpose, and it's possible that there would be some degree of unpredictability to its use if it's not fully assembled. But what you can do with it is, first of all, if you are attuned to it, you have a +1 bonus to intelligence saving throws. When you attune to it, you can immediately choose to learn a new language that you didn't already know. And then you will always know that language so long as you are attuned to the device. You can also do a feature called Time Bandit, where at the start of your turn, no action required, you roll a d6. On a 1, 2, 3, you slow down time, gaining an additional action on your turn and doubling your speed. Or on a 4 through 6, you go forward in time to warn yourself of what is to come. The next time you fail a saving throw, attack roll, or ability check, you can re-roll the check and take either result. You can only do that once per day. That sort of, that action. You can also do a fate swap once per day, which is as a reaction. When a creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, that creature gains an additional action as if it is the creature's turn. And then, of course, it can be made part of the whole machine. And so I've created an item of this. This is the chronometer cautious machine. You can add that if you like. And then
Yep.
if you do the other one, see, I just did the same thing again. I'm trying to pull it up, and then I'm typing the rotor into the author field. I made these a while ago, so I don't have them all memorized. But so the rotor, while attuned to it, you get a +1 bonus to Constitution saving throws. And you periodically receive flashbacks of old memories, and you can unerringly recall any event that took place in the last 30 days. You can also do borrow object once a day. You name a mundane item with a value of 50 gold or less, and it just appears in your hand or at your feet. It is transported to you it is not created. It is being taken from somewhere in the world. And so therefore you also, you can't have it do something that does not already exist. You don't have any control over where it is brought from, but after 10 minutes, it is returned to where it came from. And so then you also get a recall code. As an action, you can set your current location as a point of return locked to the rotor, and anytime thereafter, you can use a bonus action to teleport to that location as long as you are within 500 feet of that point. And then that's again a once a day item ability.
So finally, we have an explanation for when you swear you put your keys just right there, and then they're gone, and then later on they're right there, and you can't explain it.
Yeah, someone used the rotor on them.
That's right.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, and I think they'll just spend time kind of contemplating
Sure.
what the machine might look like based on the parts that we've got so far.
Yeah. So Zinhorn, what kind of Dragonborn lady are you looking for?
Bronze, like me. If not, just, you know, one that likes to dance.
Sure.
Maybe likes to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So make a charisma check with advantage.
23.
23. All right, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think that you have basically your pick because you're a hero. You're a big champion. You've got wings, and you've got the moves. You've got the Riz. So I think that there's you find that as soon as you're indicating your interest in finding someone to dance with, you've got many Dragonborn ladies eager to have a dance with you.
All right. I will find one lady that looks particularly interesting. Like, hopefully, she can string a few words together into a sentence. And we will go dancing.
All right. So, tell me, is the goal here, and this is no judgment, right? Is the goal here to just have fun dancing, or are you looking to like spend the evening with someone?
If that's where it leads, that's where I'll go.
Okay.
And if not, I'm happy to just be dancing.
Sure. I think with a 23, basically they're up for whatever you're up for.
All right.
Are we not in the land of eternal sun? Does that put a curse on getting an evening together?
Well, recall that it seemed like you were it was sort of like dawn or dusk at first, and then the sun came out like when Solomonia showed up, basically. Yeah, but like so this is not a place where it's literally just daylight all the time. It's but it seems to be based on your proximity to Solomonia.
She has to sleep sometime. That's
Does she?
maybe. I'm hoping.
She will probably go somewhere else at some point. But yeah, so I guess part of what I'm asking also, Paul, is just like how much do you want to role play that, or if you kind of just want it to be like you have a lovely evening with a nice Dragonborn lady.
That's fine with me.
All right. And I think Carolina and Zaline, Lord of the Hunt is absolutely into a threesome if he can make that happen.
Get
He
him.
doesn't have to ask me twice.
All right. So I think that Vertigo, I think at some point while you're doing your examinations of those items, I think there will be a very polite, androgynous looking, celestial servant shows up in a white robe, and he just, or they just say, if you'll excuse me, I just wish to inform you that it appears as though your party companions have found places to spend their evenings and their nights, perhaps. Are you in need of a place to rest for tonight?
I hadn't really thought that far ahead. Would it be possible to get my books back?
Of course. Would you like them
And,
here, or we can prepare a study for you?
A study would be fantastic.
Wonderful. Just let me know when you are ready.
anytime.
Ah. And so I think he leads you to uh, one of their private studies, which is just this like glorious sunroom with large bookshelves in it and a nice big cozy overstuffed like armchair and a desk.
And as has been tradition, and when he gets the best night's sleep is when he ends up falling asleep writing in
Nice.
his books.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so everyone has a good time. uh, yeah, I think I think we'll just leave it there. I think everyone has a good time. So you are, um, I think there is maybe in the morning there's sort of a breakfast table prepared. And each of you where you are is sort of just approached with a question is just for the purposes of coordination. What are your plans for the day? You are welcome to stay here as long as you wish.
I think we're going to start researching our next steps in finding the two missing uh, items for the device that we're putting together.
Of course, if we can prepare a meeting room for your parties to reunite, and you can meet anything you like, or we can have resources brought to you.
All right. I think we'll just have some breakfast and then a meeting room would be nice. Yes.
All right, nice. So I think that you know your companion Zinhorn is so she knew what this was, and she's like hey, if you were interested later, she would be interested in spending more time with you, but she knows you're a very important person. You're here to do a thing. It's important for the whole universe, so she's not going to begrudge or pout or anything. um, in the meantime, I think Lord of the Hunt is just kind of like lounging around at this point, and just like to the two of you is saying, "So I was thinking about traveling to the Beastlands and doing a dinosaur hunt. Would either of you be interested?"
Oh, I would love to, but I mean, we kind of got to, this whole thing that we're doing, like
Yeah,
saving the
yeah.
world. I know. But I mean, when we're done, I would totally be up for joining you on the hunt.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, enjoy. And so I think you can all then eventually be brought back to.
I would
Mhm.
like for like when we leave, I would like for him to feel kind of sad that we didn't want to drop our whole lives
Yeah.
and go with him.
I think yeah, there's a little bit of yeah. I think you get a little bit of a like not used to asking girls to spend more time with me and they say no. Is this what it's like for other people to be with me?
Is this what it's like to be mundane?
Anyway, yes. I think you are all able to be reunited. And I think as you are sort of uh, finding yourself briefly all reconnected in this meeting room and alone for the first time in a little bit, Zinhorn, you do suddenly just in your mind once again, you feel that mental picture of that business card.
Okay. So I was approached during the party by a Hugaloft mercenaries representative uh, who wanted to make us a job offer. And um, I told him I would tell you guys. He wanted to meet with us in private. Uh, I don't know, but I wanted to, you know,
Does this have anything to do with the whole, you know, saving the world thing?
I assume so.
Um,
Honestly, they're, like in that whole fiend class, so I don't really trust them. But
Well, I mean, kind of gesture vaguely. But
yeah,
we have to get all the parts. And if he's got a lead on one,
They may
we can't
also
afford to
know
say no.
they may know something also about the nature of the other corruption and maybe how to contain it or
can
manipulate it
I
or block it.
like
mm.
do any of us know anything about these particular devils?
Well, so those who would like to can also try to make an Arcana check.
Okay.
Oh, just the dirty 20.
Okay.
No. 14.
25.
25. Yeah, so I think that amongst powerful creatures from the lower planes, certainly a known quantity that devils are very lawful in their approach to things, very hierarchical, um, you know, very, they will be very big on contracts and generally be bound to them. Like they might try to trick you with clauses in a contract, but like if it, but they're going to follow what their contract says. That's just kind of in their nature, that sort of thing. um as opposed to demons who are just really chaotic and like, there's no like making a bargain that means anything with a demon. Yugoloths as a class, and there are many different kinds, are in between, meaning just like many other sentient creatures all across the plains, you can't necessarily count on them to do any specific kind of behavior, right? They are from the lower planes. They are generally considered to be evil, but they are not bound by like a nature that's going to force them to be extra lawful or extra chaotic, etc. Um, in particular, several of the powerful Yugoloths, like there are Yugoloths that are just, might as well just almost be like animals. But there are Yugoloths that can be very smart, and they do tend to create, like they've been known to amass armies that they do sort of basically like sell to the blood war, basically, between devils and demons. So they kind of they tend to be like opportunists in that regard. Um, but there's also like lots of different individuals, and so you don't necessarily can't guarantee that any particular Yugoloth is going to behave in any particular way. But by and large, they're trying to sort of, it's not just about like making a profit exactly, but they want things and they will make deals to get them. And so generally speaking, people do hire them as dirty job type mercenaries. That's been a thing, like to the extent that they have interactions outside the lower planes, it's usually of that variety. But they do like want, and they do have their own desires and wants and plans and stuff.
So this one wants to hire us.
Yeah, interesting.
Hmm.
I'll be right back.
That might be worth considering. Um,
Well, I think if nothing else, we just need to hear them out.
Indeed. I also think we should try each of these different pieces. They all have different arcane capabilities that would have different benefits for different ones of us. Um, it would be good to have a handle on how they perform first singly, and then perhaps if we can try combining them together to either greater effect or at least predict where the other pieces might lay in the arcane landscape.
So I know how much you love doing that sort of thing, but sometimes we have to split our duties a little bit like that. So we do have friends that are very adept with experimenting with devices like this. So I think Sorashana and Sequential would be incredibly thrilled to get this opportunity.
I definitely agree that they should be involved, but the more first-hand knowledge we can have, the better. And frankly, I think that we're going to be in the field a bit more than they are, and might need the extra benefit these things can provide.
Well, but until we know what they do, we can't just stop everything to, you know, play with new gadgets.
Well, we can. I mean, we just had a party that wasn't exactly on the agenda. I think we have more
Yeah,
time than we
but
might be
the
giving
the
ourselves.
Fae are kind of a little weird with time, so who even knows? I mean, we could have only been gone 30 seconds.
True. And time is actually the purview of one of the devices, one of the newer ones we just acquired.
How so?
Um, well, I haven't had the opportunity to try it or see, observe someone trying it. From my studies, though, it would allow you to um, communicate with your future self as one of the elements of it. Um, Also, well, they all have their own individual abilities, from what I've been able to discover so far, and I think that they could be useful in the field. Again, I do believe that Sequential and Sorashana have a point to play in all of this, but I would be remiss if I didn't suggest we had certain capabilities that we could use to keep our own skins alive, so to speak.
Hmm. Cool.
But um, I'm not certain as to where to go next anyway, so in the interim, if this proposal is useful to us, I would suggest we hear it.
The universe tends to send signs about the directions that people should go, and it's whether or not you're listening. And to me, this seems like the universe giving us a direction. So
Like
I
the
say we go.
accumulation of these devices and how they should probably be used to save the universe.
So, how do we contact this person?
There's a knock
Uh,
on the
Anyone?
door.
I go over to the door and open it.
Hello, my friend. Are you ready to discuss my proposal now?
Yes, I believe that we are. Please come in.
Wonderful. So the rest of you now see this individual, as I mentioned, the sort of very high popped collar, fancy sort of like shiny purple robes. The face is sort of this elongated, like glowing yellow eyes, green skin, no nose or mouth, and you're only just hearing the voice in your head. Um, Vertigo, by virtue of the ring you have, the ring of mind shielding, you basically have control over whether someone can speak telepathically to you or not.
It's not. It's not attuned.
Oh, okay. Not currently attuned.
Not currently
Then
attuned.
never mind. You do not have that control. You would if it were attuned.
Yes.
But okay. So yeah. So you all hear the voice in your head, and it just says, you know, greetings to all of you. My name is Arcaris, and I am very glad to have this opportunity to present to you a proposal that I think you will find very much in your interest.
We're eager to hear what you have to say. We
Yes.
make no commitments at this time, but if it
Oh,
is
of
of
course,
interest.
of course, of course. I would not expect you to agree to anything before the proposal has been fully and thoroughly explained. But if I may tantalize you with a key detail rather than burying the lead, may I suggest to you that your payment in this particular offer would be a component of the very machine you seek to assemble.
Would be of interest.
That is very much
I suspected this would
interest.
be the case, you see. So, are you all familiar with the elemental planes?
Some more intimately than others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I'm sure then that you know that at the borders of the different elemental planes, there are regions of overlap that become a sort of elemental plane of their own right. The where fire and air mix, for example, and hang on, actually, I'm just gonna. Where is it?
I feel like he's brought out a chart.
Yeah, I suddenly, I was less prepared to discuss this in detail than I thought I was. Give me one moment.
Fire and water would make steam, I suppose.
Well, but yeah, there's more specifics to it, and I just want to, let's see, planes, there we go.
Summon flip chart.
Yes. There are, so at the border, for example, of the elemental plane of fire and the elemental plane of earth, there is the plane of magma. And between fire and air, there's the plane of ash. Between air and water, there is the plane of ice. And between water and earth is the plane of ooze. And that is the one that I speak to you of today.
Ooze.
Indeed. It is a realm of swamps and marshes with no bottom, of slimes and goops galore, which, is quite exciting if you're into that sort of thing.
We've met some goops and swampy things, I suppose.
Well, you see, there is a legend, such as it is, that the endless swamps in the plain of ooze are the place that you can dispose of dangerous items that you must have out of the hands of anyone who might misuse them. And it is said that if you toss an object into the endless swamps of the plain of ooze, that it will be effectively removed from the multiverse for 100 years and cannot be found again until that time has passed. See, that is the legend. And it is true for those who don't have, let's say, an ooze on the inside, such as it is.
Ah, interesting.
It is my understanding that one of the components of the machine that you seek to assemble has in fact been thrown into this very swamp. And I could perhaps put you in contact with the entity that could achieve it for you, rather than you having to wait until the undisclosed time and hope that you find it somewhere in the swamp.
And what would the trade-off for something like this be?
It is really quite simple, you see. There is another thing in the swamp. And I wish you to bring that to me. I tell you where to find both of them. You bring the one that I want to me, and you keep the one you want. And we have both achieved the thing that we wish.
I mean, it seems reasonable on the surface, at least.
These things usually do.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
I assume that the way is treacherous, or you would have retrieved it yourself.
Indeed, and it is perhaps relevant to the agreement here that though I know this individual who can source these items, he will, in fact, wish to be paid himself for these items, and I would leave it to you to determine how best to separate these items from that individual. That part of the job is up to you, and it is none of my business.
Um, it sounds as though um, a simple payment wouldn't be sufficient.
Perhaps it would if you could meet his price. I leave that to you. You are
Hmm.
clearly very resourceful and powerful individuals. I have no doubt that you would be able to come up with something.
Well, it's a lead.
I would urge you to not hesitate on this offer, because after such a demonstration as we all witnessed yesterday, there are many entities across the multiverse that know that these components are being sought out. And if you do not leap upon this opportunity, you may find that you have competition.
Hmm. I think part of yesterday's demonstration was to show people what happens to our competition. So,
Um, I am gonna actually be like, don't don't do that.
okay.
don't don't curse us. Um, I think that it is better if we are humble and I get the idea that there may be other competition out there and that we should act on this, but I do think that we need to uh, you know discuss it amongst ourselves before we make a commitment.
Of course, of course. And so I will also just let you know that I have two variations of this proposal. I would, of course, offer a contract that we could sign now to ensure that I can give you this information and be confident myself that you would return with the item that I seek. However, I know that individuals from the material plane and the upper planes will sometimes balk at the thought of a contract with a fiend. And so, as a variation, I might offer to accompany you on your excursion to the plane of ooze, at which point I could lead you there rather than give you the information specifically in advance. I have to assure myself, after all, that I would not give you the information and find that you do not return with my item for me.
I mean, there is a distinct possibility we wouldn't return at all, but not due to any.
Yes, well, that is investment risk as opposed to betrayal, you see.
Hmm, true.
I have confidence in you, though, after your demonstration yesterday, however. I believe that this component part belongs in your hands, and I, as an individual with the knowledge necessary, simply wish to be fairly compensated for assisting in this matter.
Mhm.
So I think in Lynn's head, you'll hear his voice.
I I don't know if I can understand their motivations, but I could peer into his mind to see.
I don't know that we need to do that.
You
With
think he's
these
sincere?
guys, well, yes and no. The stuff he's not saying is probably not to our benefit. I'm mostly concerned about the item he wants us to retrieve.
What's the item you're looking to retrieve for
Ah,
yourself?
well, you see, it is a ring. And if I may say, I would point out that you would know the ring when you see it. I would describe it in detail, of course, if we are uh, uh, of an accord.
Oh, does that satisfy you, Lynn?
Again, inside the head.
I think to do what we have to do, we're gonna have to make a deal with some devils.
Technically, they're not devils. They're sort of in a neutral stance between both devils and demons, at least as far as I recall. It's probably a good idea that I read a few books, actually, to make sure that I'm on the right footing for this.
I'm just going to not explain that. Oh, that was a metaphor. Just I'm gonna let him have it. Don't have to correct him all the time.
If you wish, I can withdraw and allow you to discuss your offer in private. My offer, I should say.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate.
Of course. You know how to reach me. And he leaves.
Really?
We just think about him and he'll show up again.
Get rather annoying if people think about you constantly.
Always on the bell.
He seems like he likes it.
Well, I'm not really keen on walking through a swamp, but
Or
Oh
if
yeah, no, that part
he's-
sounds horrible.
at least we might have some idea of what we're actually walking into. We weren't exactly ready for whatever the hell that place was before.
Yeah. I do. Um, Zinhorn. I know it's like easy to be like, we're totally the bomb and we're super cool and we beat up a lot of people. But I do think it's really important to be humble. I mean, if we just go around blasting like, hey, we beat those people up, we'll be fine. We don't got no competition. It's just gonna make people come at us even more, and we don't have time for that.
That was not my intention. I
I
agree with
know,
you.
I
Uh,
know, but it's just important that we're careful how we phrase things.
it,
I mean, it may
yes,
not
it
be
is.
inaccurate.
I know, but we don't want to be saying that. Like, it may be like accurate, but do we really want to just walk up to everybody and be like, "You saw what we did to the last competition.
I mean,
We'll
I've
do
seen
that to
people do
you."
that. I've seen people brag quite continuously.
What happens
Anyway,
to those people? Not good things. So, I don't think that we should sign a contract. I don't care if this thing goes with us. Does anybody?
Um,
I don't have any problem with it.
yeah. Arcaris is its name.
Find
But
it interesting that it offered the choice.
yeah, the whole deal contract thing was I was just going to slow everything down. We would need lawyers to review everything, and
I mean, this does open us up to potential betrayal, but you know,
yeah, but
But then we also don't have to worry about like, well, the fine print said that at the end of this quest, I would have to give him like my firstborn hamster or whatever.
mm, yeah,
I do wonder about the nature of this ooze. If
Uh,
The ooze on the inside made it sound as though it was an ally or a friend, but the convincing them to give up the item sounds much more hostile, at least in the way that it implied.
I didn't know that oozes could like have preferences, honestly.
They can be very intelligent.
Can
I
they?
mean, I
Yeah,
think
we used to get them to solve mazes back at the orphanage.
Oh wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, they're very good at solving mazes.
I think if we don't play this exactly right, we're probably in for a really disgusting fight. Um,
Infinite swamps and oozes.
And
Yeah.
deadly. I mean,
How many people do we want to have the gate spell? Um, yeah, just saying.
I
to,
mean,
to be able to get us out of the infinite swamps, just in case.
Ah, time
we
and
need to
spell
start
books.
finding ways to make keys so that if necessary, we can plane shift out of places. Because right now, having plane shift is completely useless if we don't have the keys we need to get to other places.
Well, I have the ability to take gate now, which
Okay.
it doesn't. Don't you Vertigo, Nedry? Don't you have that tablet
I
thing?
do. Um, if we continue to use it, it does offer us a way out.
okay.
My only concern is that that one use is very important, very useful, but there are other items of magic I would like to try, including the gear that we have. Not specifically the gear, although that is one of them.
Like what? What do you mean?
Well, the pieces we've already collected have significant power and would be quite helpful to us. I do agree that perhaps Soroshana and Sequential should be researching them while we are away, but I also think that some of them should be used in the field. I mean, just remember how useful the bread maker was. Maybe that's a bad example.
I mean, do you have any in particular that you're thinking? That's what I mean.
Oh, well, they're all quite amazing in their own way. Um, I'm often concerned with um, making sure that we're all in the places we should be. Um, and I believe the loop would be very assisting to that. But each of them would have different situational value. It's also possible, although I haven't quite studied it yet, they might have some sympathetic power between them. Having one or more might help to find the others. I don't know how obscured the one that is being guarded or held or simply indicated by this ooze is, but we don't know the shape of the one that's missing either.
Okay, so what are we doing? We're gonna go to the swamp and make a deal with the news? Like,
Yeah.
That would be another thing if there was something that we could find to trade with the ooze, or if it needs something done, a task for a task, or a task for an item.
well, we won't know until we talk to it.
We should return at least to the material plane long enough to check in with our
Hmm.
friends and what's going on, and to select some or all of these extraordinary items for them to research.
I would also like to see if Sequential and Sorshana ever had a chance to fix the shrink ray gun, because that could come in handy if this ooze is really big and scary. I'm just saying, like shrink it down. It's little ooze. I don't know.
get the baby ooze now.
Yeah.
They also may have found out more about the corruption and its ability to be protected. I'd also like to know what's happening on the island, if anybody knows.
Yeah, they sent teams out. I'm sure we'll get an update at some point.
Right.
I'm. I think our position as kind of the tip of the spear um, means we don't have to know everything that's going on all the time.
I'll... I understand what you mean, even if the words don't quite make sense to me.
So, first stop home and then swamp.
Yeah.
I assume this Arcturus has a way for us to get there. But
Well,
whatever
I
ways
mean,
that we can continue to have to get back would
Oh,
be a good idea.
yeah, and maybe a visit to Sticky Zickies.
what do you need at
And I'm
Sticky
sure we'd
Sickies?
love
I
to catch up with
lost my
Ivy and see what she's
spear.
been
I
up to.
need a new weapon.
We have like so many weapons. We could probably just comb through our stuff and see if we have anything you could use.
I can
There's like
use
tons of.
pretty much everything.
I have a knife.
I have a. What the heck is it? Uh, I don't know. I have stuff. I mean, we can check and
All right.
see, but like, I mean, are we going back to Bashan or I mean, did we don't know where they went. Didn't we get separated under weird sort of circumstances?
I honestly don't remember.
You had attended the whole big council where there was the discussion of who was going to go where, what was the plan, and everything. And you basically got the tip that if you came to Mount Celestia, you could get the part from there. So you really didn't go anywhere else after that.
Okay.
So that's where you came from last, was the palace in Pashan.
Okay.
It's been a minute.
Mhm.
So, Sunya is our destination.
Mhm.
Right.
Sunya de Antorbello.
We should probably let our friend seems like the wrong word. Um,
That guy.
yeah, the mercenary. We should probably let him know what's going to happen.
All right. I try and
So,
think his name out loud.
The door immediately opens and he leans in. Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna agree to your offer.
Splendid.
We need to drop in on the material plane for a little bit, maybe a day or so, and
Would
I
you prefer to accompany me for me to accompany you at this time, or to meet you at some future rendezvous?
I think future rendezvous
Very well.
would work.
I will reach out to you at the time and place. Do you have transportation to the plane of ooze?
Okay.
No, I'm asking
Do
do
no,
you have transportation to the plane of ooze?
we do not.
Very
Um,
well. Then I will arrange a place to meet in the material plane.
okay.
Boy, that voice is harder on my throat than a lot of other ones that I would have guessed were harder.
So, I was about to say, if I have the gate spell, doesn't do I still need like a tuning fork kind of thing?
No.
no, I don't think so. Not for that.
No, a
But I
gate
don't.
spell is more than sufficient to travel to the plane. However, it's a big place. You don't know where you're going.
True.
And if I may say, for those who are unfamiliar, it kind of all looks the same.
So you kind of need somebody who knows the landscape with you to
Indeed.
get to, yeah.
Can ooze
So
on
we
the
will meet up
inside.
somewhere. We will meet up somewhere and travel together.
Wonderful. I'll be in touch.
All right. Does he just kind of go down the drain now?
No, he leaves through the door.
Oh, okay.
He's not an ooze.
I don't know.
Look, he knows oozes.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Oozes are
But
some of his best friends.
he
Like
might
now,
have kind of ooziness to him. He might go for that oozy dramatic exit. Oh,
now you're making him feel like the guy from Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Odo.
Oh no.
Odo, yeah. All right, goodbye, Odo.
yeah.
He leans back in. It's Arcarix. But it's fine. I'll be in touch. And he closes the door.
All right.
All right.
I need more diamonds, more
So-
5,000 gold pieces.
Yeah, that's an expensive spell. So
Yeah, but I
Oh,
also
yeah.
use those for resurrection and things like
yeah.
that.
the gate spell is not a casual use spell.
No, it's expensive, and we don't make a lot of money.
We do have like
mean, we
so much
could.
money though.
Do we?
Really, like we have the Grand Master Bank of our patron. It was like just go to the store and tell them what you want within
mean-
reason,
Yeah.
kind of.
I mean, there's a different scale between sticky zickies and 5,000 gold piece diamonds.
That's true.
Mm.
I currently don't have any money, but it hasn't really been a problem.
Yeah.
So, how do we go about getting home?
That I can remedy if we want.
I think if we ask a celestial, they'll whip us up some kind of transportation.
Maybe
They
we
seem to
can ride
be very helpful.
unicorns.
I'm sorry, who did you want to ride?
Unicorns.
Unicorns.
What did you get up to last night? Never mind, now
You
you
were
know.
there.
very, very similar.
I think
Yeah. I
specifically
don't kiss and tell.
unicorns wouldn't want you to ride them right now. I think it's a whole thing actually. They have very specific rules.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Yeah. So indeed, I think if you notify one of the many celestial servants around, you are you find that they have ready for you, you had had your stuff returned to you, I think already, but they have the the items, and they've packed you lunches.
There's your sandwiches, Zinhorn. There you go.
All right. Well, those are for our friends back at the castle.
They're celestial sandwiches.
Yes.
Infinite sandwich bag.
Yeah, it's wrapped in foil that's sculpted into an elaborate Pegasus.
Nice. Nice. All right. So how do we get back? Do we just
Yeah, no, I think that they have a portal for you. Yeah, you can, you're, because this is not even just casual travel to Mount Celestia. We're here as a specific guest of the Empress. So
Yeah. We're the
Yeah.
the guests of honor.
Just shove us off the side of the mountain and we'll fall back home.
So I think that you are returned to a portal back at the sort of this central gathering hall within the Imperial Palace. And the thing is, the central gathering hall of the Imperial Palace is a very nice place. But you basically just came from like the high court in effectively fantasy heaven. I think as soon as you step through, you're suddenly just like, everything seems a little bit dirty, and there's a little bit of a smell that you never really noticed before. And it's like, I mean, it's fine. It's just, you just came from a place where that was all perfect. So it's just like, can't help but notice. I think though that there is no like this summit thing seems to be over. However, there are people working in there, and I think as soon as you step through the portal, um, a page approaches and just says, we've summoned Mr. Devereaux for to let him know that you have returned. Is there anything I can do for you?"
Not really.
No.
No, I think we're good for right now.
Like,
Very
how far away is he? Is he like? Is it going to take him like a half hour to get here, or?
We didn't know when you were returning. It has been 3 days.
Right.
Oh.
So is he far away? Like, is it going to take a little bit?
No,
'Cause
I mean he's coming. What I meant to imply is that he is eager to speak with you.
oh, okay.
Okay.
I was just going to say, like, if it was going to take like 20 minutes or half an hour, like, I could eat some pastries if you have any laying around. But if he's on his way, no, don't worry about it.
You were just like you were packed a lunch from heaven, and what you want is the material plain pastries.
Give me your
Yeah.
greasy hamburger,
Philistine.
okay?
I want
Yeah.
McDonald's and I want it now. I have McDonald's money.
Hey, you know what? Fair.
McBachans.
Yeah. So I think that they can definitely bring a tray of pastries, whether you want those or not. Um, but yes, I think the friend of the emperor he's not like in his pajamas or something, but he is a little bit less like in full formal. I'm presenting at a summit, outfit, and he just says, I'm very pleased that you returned. I assume your expedition was successful."
It was, yes.
Excellent, excellent. So, I don't suppose Solomonia got up to any uh, surprises.
Of
Um,
course she did.
of course,
All of
but
them.
nothing we couldn't handle.
All right. So, do you have a next step? Do you need briefing? What do you need at this point? We have obviously a very dynamic situation right now.
Hmm.
Well, real quick rundown. We have 2 more parts. We've got a lead on another one, and
Ah.
we're just making a little pit stop here to pick up some stuff, and then we're taking off again.
Moving fast. Wonderful. I was going to say we hadn't had any additional intel on locations of parts here, but we do have very good news is that the team that we sent to recruit Sitzlebeck and deal with the Nightmare Dragon was in fact successful. They have destroyed it.
Oh, that's
Oh.
fabulous news.
That's excellent.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, certainly that is a win, and we will take it. Not all of our news is quite so good. The team that we've sent a couple of teams to Dinnet there, some to try to gauge the progress of the construct makers, some to try to get in touch with the rebel factions that you mentioned, and some to try to investigate these siphoners. I'm afraid the latter team we have lost all contact with. The last information we had from them was that civilians in the city there were going missing in great numbers. But then, of course, we lost contact with the team, and we do not know what has become of them. Our attempts to scry have failed.
That's not good.
No. The team has made contact with the rebel cell that you had described, ruled by this placer construct. And there has been some progress on information exchange. They have had somewhat more freedom to operate at the moment, but largely that is because the construct makers have their attention elsewhere at the moment. And on that matter, we have discovered both that their headquarters, the place that you visited, and the strange phenomena, the smoke or the the pipe that you had somewhat incapacitated the facility, it seems that they have been able to restore operation to that factory, and they have in fact made an arrangement with the city of Amersham and are building a new construct factory there. Despite our, assurances, it is hard to blame them for accepting the protection that can help them right now, and not the one that is promising that maybe sometime in the future we can help them.
Right.
It will be dangerous, but they might be manageable, depending on how clever the folks of Emersham are, I suppose. Still,
Well, there's nothing we can do about that now, so control what we can, right?
Well, indeed, it's a difficult business trying to save the world.
so many parts. Do you know if Lord Yobert's castle is still docked?
It is indeed. He has been awaiting your return.
Any chance anyone on the island found my spear, my freezing drill spear?
I don't have any specific information on that, but we can reach out to our contacts there.
Okay. I described the place where we lost it, and the people, the rebel that was with us, who would know.
Yeah, he takes
Yeah.
notes. He's clearly taking detailed notes about that.
All right.
I will find out what I can.
It
We will
was-
find you a new weapon.
You might
thank
have to
A
let that
better
one go,
weapon.
man.
I know you loved it, but we
It-
may have to
look,
find a new one.
I had it from the beginning. It was
I know, but like you're so OP now. Like you could get a way bigger, better spear of drilling. Like it could be a fire drill spear for all you know. There could be anything out there.
You
I
know,
know.
this freezing
but-
spears spell, like, awesome. So awesome.
Okay.
Might work
Well,
for you.
They don't drill though.
there's no drill part of it. I mean, it was really good at making ice cream when we were out in the field. Uh,
Soft serve.
yeah, best kind. Uh,
And Louis had the bread maker to make little bread cones.
all right.
So, if I may ask, what sorts of things were you looking to pick up? Do I have the impression that you are in the market for some magic items?
Yeah, I
Very
need a new
likely.
magic weapon.
Good boots.
We also will need some diamonds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, diamonds.
Well, I do not have, in fact, infinite cash to dispense, but I can give you some contacts for premium magical items, the sort of thing that you might not find at a more accessible retail establishment.
Cool.
Our friend has friends, is what he's saying.
All right.
I mean, because to some extent, like, when you start talking about like the really powerful magical items, it's a little bit like, no, you can't buy your own mini sub at REI, right? Like,
Right.
you go to a different guy for the mini sub.
Right.
Got a mini sub guy, really.
Speaking of which, guys, now that I'm thinking about it, um, the mechanical crab might come in useful in a land of swamps and oozes.
I don't
That's
think
actually
so.
that's actually not a bad idea.
No, I don't think that would be
I
helpful.
think it'd be
there.
too. It would just like sink and get stuck and lost, and I think that's a bad idea. Mm-mm.
Well, we
It's
did
got
a good job,
claws
like,
to hang on to things, though.
and
But
dig
wouldn't
your
it
way
be easier
out.
if we just floated or flew over
A
it?
simple
Like that,
boat or even boots.
Well, I
maybe.
mean, if we
that's
have to
messy.
get in the swampy part, it's a swamp. Eventually, we're gonna have to get in it.
Yeah, but I
I
mean,
think a
like, how are we
mechanical
gonna
crab
get the
might
crab
work.
apparatus there, though?
Meanwhile, Nelson
I'm
Devereaux
just
is like, what the hell?
mentioning.
It's like, what the
The
hell is a crabbaratus?
mhm.
Yeah. So
So
it's
leads on fancy stuff.
like leads on fancy
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah. And
Yeah.
diamonds.
So I think he gives you he writes a name and an address on a piece of pad of the note paper there, and he just says you know you just knock on that door, and when they tell you to go away, you tell them that a friend of the emperor sent you.
Okay.
Nice.
Mm, thinking of that, how is your status with the Emperor no longer here?
Well, it is somewhat maintained at the moment through sheer inertia. There is enough chaos at the moment that there has not been stability for any sort of new status quo to take hold as of yet. There is enough chaos happening that I've been able to continue operating simply by will and skill and uh, contacts alone. However, it is now that the emperor has departed and is not returning, there is a great deal of pressure to have the empire become a theocratic empire of sorts.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that.
Well, there are a great many who do not. However, it is nonetheless a fact that many people's lives at this moment are being protected by clerics and paladins created by Solomonia to protect them from monsters from beyond the plains. So there is some pressure to say, yes, let's do what they say.
Um, Completely off topic. Where's Ivy?
Um, so just I because I'm trying to remember. I believe that we had, let's see, because she, when you came back, was she, because I'm just trying to remember where we last saw her, because had she gone back to work at the palace, or was she still staying with you
She had
guys?
gone back to the
Yeah.
palace and we gave her or I
Right.
gave her the sending stone
Right.
so that she
Yeah.
could keep in contact with Yovert.
So I think Ivy volunteered to be on one of the parties to reach out to the rebels in Dinether.
Okay.
And so she is safe for the time being. I wish I could say the same for the Siphoner team, but I know you have a special connection with Ivy, and she is currently, with friends.
She'll
Okay.
do well.
All right. So, you heading straight to this magic place first, or
I think maybe better check in with um, our patron first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
could be
Let's
all
do
like,
that.
yeah,
got
this
any
magic guy
money?
is the sort of guy is like if you need to ask how much something is, you probably shouldn't be shopping there. You know.
Yeah. Well, we're the pocket protectors. We don't pay our own bills. Other people pay our bills.
For the empty pocket protectors.
That's what patrons are for. But in any case, yeah, you
Thanks.
return, and so I think Brennan greets you at the door with Sunia, of course, you know, um, greeting you excitedly as well, and Brennan is just saying, we were a little worried because we didn't know how long you were going to be gone. It kind of seemed like you were just going there to pick up a thing, and then you were gone for 3 days, so we didn't really
Yeah, it
have
was a whole
any
thing.
word from you. But yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to judge. I'm just saying, like, we were a little, on edge, but we're
Hmm.
glad you're back. So, everything went okay.
Well, I mean, you know how it is with the Fae. Everything is kind of, you know,
Wibbly
wibbly
wobbly.
wobbly with the time and all of that, and we had no idea.
There was also a
Um,
party which was kind of distracting.
And
Yeah, a little bit
nice.
of surprise, a
And
bit
we
of a
brought you
fight.
food.
Yeah. There was a wall. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was so
So I
pretty.
think we cut to the table. Everyone's sitting around it. Like Sequential and Sorashana and Yobert and Brennan are all there. Like you've got like all of the little Tupperwares unfolded uh,
Yeah.
on the table, and everyone's kind of just like, "Wow, these are really
The
good."
celestial Tupperware.
Yeah,
Probably also the 4 collected items too.
yeah.
And I
Hmm.
think as we're retelling this story, I'm probably like rearranging stuff on the table to like, okay, this is me, and this is Aileen, and this is, and these are the people we were fighting, and we
Hmm.
went like this, and we did this, and then this went off, and it was,
This
doing
line
the
of
whole
sushi is where the
There
story.
was
wall was.
bugs like everywhere. It was amazing. Bugs.
And rainbows.
Bugs and rainbows.
Yeah. So obviously everyone's excited to sort of catch up. But it's just so Yobert says. So what is the next step?
Next step is much less fun, I think.
We're
Much
going
more
to
messy.
some oozy plain.
Yeah, plain of
Yeah.
ooze. Endless
Yeah.
swamp. It'll be great, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, speaking of the plain of ooze, Sequential and Sorashana, have you had any luck with the shrinky growy gun?
Uh, I think they Sequential says, uh, yes, we have actually gotten it functional. The problem right now is that it just requires rather like bulky apparatus. It's not just like a little handheld thing. You have to wear it sort of like a backpack.
Couldn't you just shrink it?
Well,
With itself? Could
yeah,
you
it
use it?
doesn't. It can't point at itself. Is the problem? It
Hmm.
it we actually did try one where you could shrink it as itself, but it actually just sort of created a loop and it shrank itself to where we can't find it. We had to make a whole new one.
Oh my gosh. Sounds like the inside of the tower. Yeah.
Hmm. But so, like I said, it's a little bit bulky, but it works. Would you like a demonstration?
Sure.
Um, all right. So I think they say, well, what would you like to shrink?
Um
How about a chair? Something that won't
yeah, it's
be.
something mundane.
I think that you sensed maybe just a teensy bit of like they were a little bit worried you might say to try it on a person, and then as soon as you say like a chair, they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we can do a chair. That's great, great.
I would think that like if we picked up on that, I will not suggest taking it with us just because they're still not sure.
Well, it's
Oh,
one of
wait.
those things where it's kind of like there's no reason it shouldn't work on a person, but
We, we could
we
always take it
have
through
been
the
a
tower.
little hesitant to.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, we could do it in the tower on a person, like if they wanted to experiment, and then that way,
Well, no,
if
I was
something weird
thinking.
happened, they could go through the doors.
I was thinking it was bulky, so just someone carries it through the tower, and someone else picks up the smaller version.
Hmm, that's a good idea. I wonder if it would lose any impact though. Like if
I
that would
think
affect its
Sorashana at
power.
this point uh, kind of just looks to all of you and says, "You can't cheat the shrinking magic, or else it'll blow up."
Oh.
I
There's
think that is a valid explanation, and I accept
an often side effect of a lot of magical experimentation. Seems legit.
Yeah, sequential. Sequential says, I was trying to see if I could, get some insights from Rupino, but he seemed pretty determined that we had made enough progress on our own that he wanted to see us work it out. So
He would be
Sounds
another
like
one to
him.
have working on these devices.
Where is Rubino?
They have both, Rubino, Trandinel, and Talitha have both been like consulting on all of the other activities that are being done, like the teams that have, been going off to
Okay.
communicate. So, so they're like could be reached, but they're not just like hanging out waiting for you.
Okay. All right. Good to
I
know.
We've been discussing an experimentation with these parts of the device. But perhaps it would be best if you were working on them. My only concern is that there are numerous parties which are looking for these devices. And if we do leave them with you, it's going to put you into some additional peril.
I would like to actually offer here that that we had not at this point gotten all of them like unwrapped and sitting together on a table. But now that you're talking about it, you are like doing that for the first time. Like you're getting out the two that you had, and then you take the the disguised
Um,
wrapping off of the ones that. What?
I think before revealing them,
Okay.
actually, what is that?
Hmm.
Is that the one I want? Private sanctum.
Okay.
So he would install that in the room so that it can't be spied upon magically. It can't
Okay.
be
Great. Yeah. No. Fantastic.
spied upon or traveled into,
Hmm.
just as additional protection.
I think that is an excellent idea. So you do that, and then like, is there anything in there? What's the inside of that private sanctum look like?
Uh, it doesn't really have a look of its own, although the edges can be warded to have dark and foggy stuff. We used it to hide the tower at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, yeah, I think
You like
I think
carrying a table in there or what?
yeah, basically it should be big enough to encapsulate the entire room.
Okay.
I think
Sure.
it's 120 foot, 100 foot on a side, so it should be easily the whole
Oh
like
yeah.
banquet hall.
Yeah, no problem.
Um,
So yeah, you're back in Sunya at this point, but so
yeah,
that that the dining hall there. So in any case, you cast that and you bring them out. But I think as you, for the first time, have more than two of them kind of in close proximity, um, there is just sort of an electrical feeling in the air. Like you're not seeing like little sparks or anything like that, but there's sort of just this sort of uh, ultrasound vibration. Um, you just sort of feel like your ears are popping, and there's just the tiniest sense of a little vibration on the table, and like one of the like the chronometer, you set it down, and it sort of just it immediately like spins around like a magnetic force has just sort of reoriented it a little bit, and the table that they're on is starting to vibrate.
As you can see, they're potent items individually, but together they'll have an even more incredible effect. It will be disruptive, I'm afraid, if they're all out at once, or even
One
in the same location.
one thing I'll say of the four that you have, it's clear that no two of them connect directly to each other. Um, it is clear that there is going to be some central thing that they are all going to affix onto. And so right now, the like they don't just there's not like two of them that just will interlock with each other, but it's clear that they're reacting to the presence of the others.
So we have a decision to make about where they stay. Here, with something like that spell or something else, they could be concealed. But word may get out, and they have effects once revealed to each other, too. We could take them with us, but it does put them in peril in the field if we should have difficulties.
Yobert says, I will say, this is a strange way, perhaps, of building into a compliment, but all of you have grown so powerful and resourceful in the time that I have known you, and I am so proud of the team that you have become, which I say in context to suggest that I think the four of you would be better able to protect them than we could here.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
That is, if you believe that others would come after them.
We know there are others looking for them, and they are aware we have some of them. And our allies aren't exactly hidden all the time. That's why I fear leaving them here.
I say we just take them with us. You're
Okay.
you're you're pretty smart, and you're good with the arcane. I think that you studying them and I can help, try to figure out anything that you're not sure or whatever. Like we could put our heads together and work on that on our own. I'd rather do that than, put everybody else in danger.
And if we need to keep them quiet, there's always the cages in Nedry's pouch.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
they did with the two that we got from
Mm-hmm.
Solomonia. There was something about them having a concealing bag, or
Well, it was basically you would have had time now to realize that they were in pouches that were not like a full bag of holding or anything, but it was a pouch. There. I don't remember the specific name of it right at the moment, but it's basically there's a spell on the pouch that disguises the magical aura of anything that's inside. So just like detect magic would normally, you would spot magic and say, "Oh, well, that's evocation magic, that's enchantment magic, that sort of thing." It's a spell on the bag that makes it look as though what you are transporting is like magic components that might have sort of a natural residual magic to them, but not of any specific school. And basically, it's just designed to make it can't conceal their aura altogether, but it makes it look like it's something else.
and is that like a pocket of holding, or is that
No, it's basically it's a bag that is big enough to hold the item, but
okay?
it's not magic in its size, only in that disguising effect.
So that could be placed within the bag of holding
Yeah.
without any issue.
Hmm.
Okay.
Well, we have a couple of different ways to hide things as well, if we really felt we needed to. And also, honestly, when all this is said and done, maybe it's optimistic to think too far ahead, but these things should be lost once more. So the various ways that we have of losing and hiding things might be important. From the deck, from the mirror, from the plane of ooze.
Incidentally, as a tangent, I think Evan also went with Ivy on that that party.
So proud of that kid. I mean, not really. He's kind of a death trap, but he's gone far.
We learn that it's like, it's kind of ironic because I first met all you guys because I was hired to spy on you, and so now I'm like, spy for real.
Evan, master spy.
Cool.
How
But
far he's come.
you can
I
see we've done
know.
well. We're going to continue on. I hope that we'll be able to come back and help some of the other parts, but what are your plans? Where do you intend to go?
We're here to help in whatever way we can. I think at this point it's the best thing that I can do is to ensure you have whatever resources you need. If there's anything you think I can help with while you are off on another mission, please let me know.
Well, we gotta go see a guy about a thing.
Yeah. Could we have our allowance, please?
Uh, where were you planning to go?
I mean, Zinhorn did talk about sticky zickies a lot.
Well, we have this place that our friend of the Emperor
Mr. Devereaux.
Hmm.
is he gave us that they deal in
Yeah.
like
So
village magic
I think
items.
he asks to see the slip of paper, and then when he sees it, his eyes go wide, and he goes, "Well, we are trying to save the planes, I suppose." Uh, yes, I think that you can have one magic item apiece.
Thanks,
And there's
Father.
just a little bit
Yeah.
of looking just a little bit pale, like oh, that's that's the place you go for the pricey stuff.
The
Yep.
big guns.
Yeah.
I'll do my best to make sure everybody is reasonable.
I might not even get anything. I mean,
I'm not
we do
telling you
need to
not to
get some
get something. I
diamonds.
think it is important. We are trying to save the planes after all. It's just, I mean, these, yeah, these are the sorts of, you know, the often purchases made by people who have more than one castle.
Mm.
It's fine.
You do.
It's fine. I don't want you to worry. It's just. It is.
Well, I will say that Mr. Devereaux did say that we could probably get a little bit of a discount because we're friends with the friend of the Emperor.
Well, that would be good. I would encourage you to pursue any discount that it might be offered to you. Again, I don't want you to worry that you're going to bankrupt me precisely, but it is the sort of thing where keep receipts because we may be invoicing the Empire when all this is done.
You got it.
Important historical note: keep the receipts.
So actually, I think
Magic
that
items are tax deductible.
Well, when you're saving the emperor, you get your tax back. You file for it.
so I think actually I will. I think we're a little bit early, but I think that that's actually a pretty good point to maybe draw it to a close for this time, and you can all think a little bit about magic items that you might be interested in shopping for, and then I guess Plane of Ooze, huh?
Yeah.
Mm.
Sounds like a squishy good time.
Magic rubber
Yay.
Get
boots.
between your shoes.
Ooh, stuff gets
Get
everywhere.
your toes in it.
Worse than sand.
That's what I'm getting. Ooze-proof
It's
boots.
No,
not
nothing's
coarse
worse
and
than
irritating,
sand.
but it is sticky and smells bad.
Well, it is the edge of what was it? The earth and plane and water. So there very
Yeah.
well could be sand in grit in the ooze.
All right. Now it's worse.
All right. Well, we'll see you next slime for more adventure on so many levels.
So
Oh,
So
many
many
levels.
levels.
so many
Fun.
levels.